This little guy right here. He's starving. Good evening, everyone. My name is Celeste La Cabra. Welcome back to the channel. I almost said with me here today, but not today. Avery only watched one of these 3 films, and so it didn't make a lot of sense for her to be in the video since she wouldn't have a ton to contribute. So we're doing this kind of old school, bit of a throwback. It's just gonna be me today. I hope that that's okay. You know, these Vinegar Syndrome reviews, they take a lot of time, and this especially is very late, but, you know, the month after this, there were just like so many releases with so many films and special features on them, so it's been time consuming to get through that. And I was just gonna bundle this month and that month together until I thought, like, why? Like, I can just have 2 videos up and then you guys will get this one sooner, and I will have more videos out, so everybody wins. But yeah, we're gonna be covering these titles today. We're gonna be doing 3 Women for the Killer, Vacations of Terror 1 and 2, and Curse of the Blue Lights. Pretty slow month for them, but you know, we'll get into it. I still think that there's good stuff here. I'm gonna be completely honest, I watched these films like over a month ago at this point, and you know, rather than just making the video earlier when they were fresh on my mind, for whatever reason I decided to wait, and so they're not as fresh anymore, but hopefully I'll still have something intelligent to say and to contribute for you all. So yeah, I guess those disclaimers are out of the way, and let's go ahead and get started. But before we cut into the heart of the video, kindly indulge me for a brief moment while I tempt you to join my Patreon. Patrons at every level get a shout out in my next video, and patrons at the top 2 tiers get their names in the credits of every video. Patrons at these tiers also receive access to our private Discord community, the Cinematic Catacombs. Additionally, they receive access to at least 3 patron-only videos per month and access to a monthly patron-only livestream. Patrons at the highest level also receive a monthly handcrafted and personalized postcard and access to a downloadable library of my audio commentaries. Furthermore, 10% of pledges at every tier will be donated to a patron-chosen queer charity every month. In addition, patrons at every level are guaranteed access to everlasting life after death. Let's just rip the band-aid off, get the one I couldn't stand out of the way. This is 5 Women for the Killer. Maybe I should be censoring that? I don't know. Here's the back artwork. Reversible art, special features, inside. Now, this one is, there are films out there where you start them, and at least for me, I start them and it's just like, for whatever reason, this story, this writing, this pacing, whatever it is not grabbing me in the slightest. And unfortunately, this was one of those films for me. Like, I could not care about what was happening here, and it was, let me tell you, a chore and a struggle to get to the end of this film. It's a giallo, it's an Italian film, kind of like golden era, I guess. I probably shouldn't say that because I'm not a giallo expert, but like, I believe this is 87? 1974. Okay, basically the premise is that this dude's wife dies during childbirth, and then on top of that, he learns that he is infertile and thus could not be the father of the child. And you know, in this sort of typical giallo fashion, like, there's tons of sleazy murder in this, lots of female nudity and bloody kills, that kind of thing. And then there's all sorts of twists and turns, and I just gotta be honest, like, the film was so unsuccessful in grabbing me and making me care that, like, I could barely keep up with the twists and turns happening, and I was, by the end of it, I was just kind of like, what? Okay. I don't know, I just couldn't care. And, you know, I rewatched the ending again just to make sure I caught what had happened, and I think I did, but, like, again, it just, like, I could have fully misunderstood it and still been like, whatever, you know? So I know it sounds like I'm being very harsh on this, but the release itself is quite good. The restoration looks good, probably better than it's ever looked before. And my friend Troy Howarth does a commentary on this, and his commentary is really good, kind of helps contextualize it, and also gives me something to listen to that isn't the film to help me actually sit through the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't seem to think that this is a particularly great film either, but he does a good job in kind of explaining its merits, and you know, it's clear that he has an appreciation for this stuff regardless of the quality. Like, he has an affinity for the style and the genre. There's a fair amount of interviews on here that I think I watched. I honestly don't remember, but, like, you know, it's just kind of interviews about a film that I didn't care about that I thought were fine. They just, you know, nothing on the special features like convinced me that this was actually a great film that I had misunderstood or whatever. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, let me know. And if you didn't enjoy it, really just tell me what you thought about this film, because I really struggled to get into it at all. I think I gave this like a 3 out of 10. So the film doesn't get my recommendation, but the release is quite good. So there's that one. Next, we have Vacation of Terror 1 and 2. There's the artwork for the first one, and then for the sequel. So these are two Mexican supernatural horror films from 1989 and 1990. These had pretty bad ratings across the board, and so I was kind of like, ugh, here we go. But I actually really enjoyed both of these. I think I gave them a 7 or a 6 each, I'm not entirely sure. The first one is just kind of about like this family that buys a second home and is moving in there, like it's a vacation home obviously, and weird happenings start occurring, and you know, it's kind of revealed that the source of it is this doll that's kind of causing everything. And like, you kind of have, it's not really a haunted house because it's coming from the doll itself. So this is actually like a witchcraft thing where like it's again kind of pitting witchcraft as revenge on conservative Christianity and that kind of thing, which I'm always into. I don't know, maybe that theme just always works for me to some extent. But like, you know, you kind of have this like possession of this doll, and then like all this crazy shit happening in this house. I don't know, I think the performances are really pretty good. I think the storyline is really compelling, and I think the special effects are fantastic. I don't know, I'm pretty into the Mexican cinema lately too, so maybe that helps, but like, I just think that this is pretty good, honestly. And then Vacations of Terror 2 kind of like makes it even wilder, and like it's kind of, it just ramps it up even more. By the way, if you were concerned, I believe this is part of the artwork, and it's not that your slipcover's fucked up. There's like, it's only kind of tangentially related. I think it shares one character, but again, the doll comes back to like start haunting whoever acquires it, and like this antique shop has it, and then a little girl buys it, and it turns out to be like the sister of this pop star that the character from the first film has a crush on. And like, it all kind of culminates in this like elaborate birthday party for the little girl because she comes from like a rich family. And it just gets really crazy. It gets really wild. Like, this guy on the cover here makes a special extended appearance, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know. They're not like particularly amazing films or anything, or particularly thematically, they're not exactly thematically dense or anything like that, but I think that they're really highly entertaining, and I had a great time with them. Again, this one just kind of goes balls to the wall with the special effects, and the fucking song that the girl sings at the birthday party is such a banger. And it's like, she's actually a fairly popular artist. Like, she has a profile on Spotify that is quite popular, but that song is not on it, which is really a bummer for me because I was jamming. Tatiana is her name. She's a pretty famous Mexican pop star that is in this fucking insane kind of schlocky genre film. Yeah, I don't know, I just I really liked this, and I do recommend this. In terms of the special features, there's just a few interviews with some of the people that were involved. There's like an interview with like the twins that are in the first movie. I don't know, they're fine. You know, they're somewhat illuminating and they get the job done. But this is not a particularly special features packed edition, but I really enjoy the films, and you kind of get two for the price of one. So yeah, I recommend this. And then finally we have Curse of the Blue Lights. I'm not 100% stoked on that artwork, but I do like the spine, and I do like this back artwork a lot. And hold on, this reversible art is fucking sick. I love this. And there's your special features, and cool ass disc art too. So this is kind of like a regional Lovecraftian Evil Dead sort of zombie monster movie. It's kind of based on this local legend about these lights that apparently have some kind of curse behind them or whatever. I tried looking into the original myth, and there wasn't a ton out there. It's probably a you had to be there sort of thing, where it's just this kind of like oral tradition or like local urban legend is the word I'm looking for. So I don't know that it translates well for people outside of that area, but it makes for an interesting premise. This is one that actually really impressed me. I think I gave this a 7 out of 10. Again, it's kind of a thin plot where they just kind of discover this ancient relic that like unleashes the curse of the titular blue lights. Yeah, it starts off a little bit rough because like the acting is just really not great. Although the opening scene, which doesn't really have a ton to do with the rest of it, is pretty sick. You know, once we kind of get into our first act, the acting is kind of rough around the edges, but you also notice that the film is exceptionally dark, and I mean that in its like lighting and its cinematography. Like, it's pretty hard to make out a lot of what's happening a lot of the time, especially in the scenes set at night, obviously. But you know, this is a restored, approved edition. Like, I imagine that was intentional. So it's interesting. It has a unique aesthetic to it. There's obviously a lot of blue in the color palette, and it's really honestly a beautiful film. Like, it looks really, really great. And the special effects, the practical effects, you know, in particular, are just really astonishing. Like, they accomplished a lot with like a very little amount of money and a very small crew, you know? This guy here and his like cronies, the costumes that they made for them, and especially the set for their like lair that they kind of make people into soup in and like do all this other kind of wacky satanic shit or whatever, like it looks so good. Like, it's actually like watching the making of documentary. They managed to do this with like stuff you can get at Home Depot and like paint and just like very, very crude special effects techniques, but it looks so convincing. Like, it really looks like this like dingy, grimy, dank layer of like nastiness and filth, and it looks amazing. Like, if you're into the Lovecraftian shit, like, this is the one for you, for sure. Yeah, again, this is one where, like, people seem to be relatively lukewarm on it, and I think this is the one that Avery did watch, and she thought it was just okay, but I was really quite impressed with the aesthetics and the special effects and the creature design, and, like, the teenagers, their acting is not great, but the guys who do the monsters, they do like a lot of really silly, fun voices, and they're very like memorable characters, and I think they do a pretty good job. There's also a fun running gag where they keep getting pulled over by police, the same police officer, and he keeps being like such a huge dick to them while they're trying to escape these creatures that are trying to kill them, and like all this awful shit that's happening to them. So we love an ACAB moment, right? In terms of special features, this is a pretty stacked edition. There's an archival and a brand new audio commentary with the director. So I didn't watch like each of the commentaries. I kind of skipped around on both of them. It kind of repeats a lot of the information that is in this feature-length documentary that they've commissioned, which, if you've watched any number of these videos, you know that I'm a big fan of those. And this one is also really great. I so much prefer this as opposed to like the short little interviews with each person, because you kind of get like a highlight reel of the things they say, like actually pieced together into a cohesive narrative. So that documentary is really great, but it kind of makes the commentaries a little bit superfluous. But for super fans, you know, it's good to have that stuff. So yeah, I recommend this one as well. Okay, pretty quick video, relatively speaking, for my standards. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I know that I didn't have the most insightful things to say about these films, given that they are not fresh in my mind, and they are also not the most thematically dense films of all time or anything like that, but you know, regardless, I hope you enjoyed it, and these segments will continue as fast as I can get them out. So that's it. There's links in the description if you want to support the channel and help me feed this little guy right here. He's starving. There's links for my Patreon, Amazon wishlist, and channel membership program. There's also links in the description for my social media if you'd like to be a little bit more intimate with me. And liking, subscribing would be great, and commenting on the video would be amazing as well. I love reading your comments and interacting with all you lovely people. That's it. I'll see you in the next video. And remember that Satan loves all of their children, and Bigwig loves you too. Bye. I'd like to take a moment to thank our newest patron, Fredrik Mar Jensen. I'd also like to thank our accomplices, Deanna Vave, Dustin Putman, Enrique Bernal, George Strang, Nosferatu1334, and Ronnie. If you'd like to be counted amongst their ranks, the link is in the description.